So we got a young sister that's kind of frustrated. She's frustrated behind childcare because childcare in America is so expensive. It's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous for the prices they're charging for childcare now. I mean, it's horrible. But the young sister is kind of upset a little bit more so at my generation, which, I'll be considered Gen X. So I made it like the last year of Gen X to be considered Gen X. And if I probably would have maybe 2 more minutes or so, I probably would have been, I still would have been, yeah. But anyway, she's upset about not having help. And when I was growing up, there was plenty of people to help. But let's go ahead and roll that.
You know what really grinds my gears is that Gen Xers had all the helps when it came to raising us millennials. But now that us millennials are grown and need help with our kids, our village completely disappeared. And it's truly sad because I'm struggling to find childcare while there's no school. And it should not be this way because I know that my mom had all the help, from her mothers to her sisters to her aunties. No one ever had to go to daycare and no one was ever struggling to find childcare. And now that I'm here and I'm struggling, it kind of pisses me off because it's like, it's not fair. We need villages. Bring back the villages.
So you have 2 issues here. First of all, the first issue is America is not like it used to be. You see, back in the day, you have to think, a lot of the children was not born with women so young. What I mean by that is usually the grandmas back then was in their 50s, like mid 50s, 60s, things like that. Grandma at that time period, not trying to travel, if she is, she's doing it, but she's still not doing what she's doing now. At the same time, women in their 40s, 50s these days, they're not like my grandma. Not at all. They traveling, they at the gym, they are trying to live their best life, they going out, they doing brunch, they doing all kind of things. Once they get empty nester, basically y'all kids are grown, now they trying to live their life. But let's just be real. When you have a child like that or children, you're more dedicated to your children. You couldn't go out. You couldn't travel. You couldn't live your best life. You couldn't do a whole lot of things. You just couldn't do that. So now the aunties and the grandmas now, and the grandmas are young. That's another thing. The grandmas are still young. So to me, becoming a grandma in your 30s and 40s, and you expecting her to be like my grandmother was or my other grandmother was, it's just not going to happen. That's just number one. America's changed. Number 2, this is also an effect of the lack of marriages in the black community. What I mean by that, my grandmothers were both married. My grandmothers stayed home. Even if they worked part-time jobs. But for the most part, they were home. They were home because my grandfathers paid the bills. That's where it was. The men paid the bills. So it allowed grandma to be home. Grandma, auntie, be home, where you could drop off a child with retired grandma or grandma who don't work to take care of the kids. She loved taking care of kids. That's what grandma do, right? Today, grandma actually has to go to work still because America's so freaking expensive. So who's going to pay grandma bills, especially if grandma not married? Who's going to pay her bills? She got to get out there and pay her bills. And even if she got a man, a lot of times the things are so expensive, she still got to go pay her bills. So when you have these children, young ladies, you need to not be having these children unless you are married and you and that man together raise that child. You don't have that luxury of just putting on, dropping off at auntie house or dropping them off at grandma's house. You're going to have to think before you have children. And if you just have your children in your marriage and you say, okay, I'm married, but I still need help because, I got to work. I get that too. So y'all gonna have to figure that thing out between the both of y'all. It's just not the same. Now, versus when I go places like the African continent, they still got that village mentality. You can go drop off your kid. But here, That's done. Unless they completely revert America back to what it used to be, that's done. And how you going to revert America back when it used to be, when even the little women don't want to be married? The women don't want to marry. They don't. They've said it many times. I ain't trying to get married. You got more women saying that now. You got more women saying, I don't even want to have children. Children gonna hold me back. Children, I can't travel because of children. I can't do this because of children. Right? So you got them talking like that. So what village, sister? The village is everybody's selfish now, basically, sister. They selfish. We live in a very selfish society. And when I go to the continent, I tell our brothers and sisters, please keep this society the way it is. Do not bring that Western influence here, because that Western influence will destroy everything a family. The Western world is horrible for family, horrible. And now black people in America are seeing that. It's very unfortunate what's happening with her and many, young people who have children who don't have that village, because their young sister don't have the thousands of dollars a week to be, paying for these daycare centers. She really don't. That's why she's struggling. It is what it is, unfortunately. The village is not here anymore, and that's sad.